Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another recap for The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 4 for this week's episode 11. Before I get started off with this recap, I have to say, still, I am impressed with what the women of SLC do each and every week. I am entertained. I am engaged. I am excited for the next episode, as I always am each and every single week. The girls have outdone themselves, from the confessionals to the fashion to the comfort scenes to the pioneer event that Monica and Heather, well, actually only Heather, threw, to all around. They're doing a fantastic job. So before I ramble on too much, let's get started with the recap. So we start off the episode with Heather at home. She is FaceTiming her daughter and kind of recounting what happened at her book signing event, how she's happy that she's in a good place with Lisa. And one thing about Heather, she is always going to be riding Lisa Barlow's imaginary. You know what I'm trying to say? You can definitely see that she's very pleased with herself to have gotten to a point at Lisa Barlow that now the both of them can really call each other friends. I have to be honest, even though I'm very happy for the both of them, it is obvious that sometimes you kind of need to walk on eggshells with Lisa. This is no shade, it's just facts, in the iconic words of Miss Candy Burrs. But I see that Lisa is working on this, not issue, but, on her being a little self-centered. I like that in this episode she actually went up to Monica and halfway even apologized. I think that is a huge step for, Lisa's becoming more selfless version of herself. So I really do hope that we'll see more scenes like that of her just evolving and having a little bit of, just a teensy tiny bit of an ego death, because as much as we may think she is egotistical, she's still the iconic Lisa Barlow. So next up, we jump to Monica and her daughter. They are just lounging around on the couch, looking at old family photos. And I have to say, this episode, Monica did get on my nerves a little bit. I felt she did too much at some certain points in the episode that I will touch on later. But I like the scene with her daughter. Her kids seem very well behaved, very well spoken. She's sharing pictures from when she was crown prom. She is opening up about how her mother tore up all her dad's pictures because, how that whole thing ended up being, her father ended up being, homosexual and left the family for another man and went to Florida. So Miss Linda decided to not leave any pictures of him behind, and Monica actually doesn't even know what her father looks like. She's saying that she's not wanting to, hide the biological father of her daughter in this photo album because she has a separate one with when she was pregnant with her oldest. So she's kind of sharing that, and she's giving her the space to accept and pull in this memory of her biological dad, I guess. I found it weird because they were acting like as if, and this is me just being 100% real, they were kind of acting like this was the first time they had seen the pictures of, Monica's oldest daughter's biological dad. They didn't say it at all, but the scene was so emotional for no reason. It's as if, to me personally, they were looking at it for the first time. So I kind of side-eyed that the end of that scene. I was like, are we maybe doing a little too much for the cameras? Just asking a very general question. I am liking Monica, not as much as I used to in the beginning, because if that whole thing with Beauty Lab and Laser is true with the lawsuit, I definitely need to reevaluate my whole opinion of her, but I don't want to speak too soon because the reunion is ahead of us and I want to form opinions after the season has ended. We then jump to Angie K having a lunch with her husband Sean, going on a lunch or I guess date after almost 2 years. Baby, the tension could have been cut with a Michelin knife in that scene, okay? They had nothing to talk about in the first 15 minutes. The first few words quickly turn into a baseless, stupid argument about music, and you can really sense that Angie is just, oh my god, she has won me over. She, in my eyes, is such a sweetheart. She is beautiful, a businesswoman, kind, caring, a good mother, seemingly wanting to also be a good wife, a good daughter to her dad. What she's showing us and how she's being portrayed and how she portrays herself is honestly, she has officially won me over. This is an Angie K fan account. Okay, so shout out to my fellow Greek sister over there in Utah, Miss Angie K. I myself as a fellow Sicilian with heavy Greek rooting. Yeah, shout out to her. I'm getting off topic, but the two of them desperately love each other. You can see that, but they are obviously facing the cracks that have formed in their relationship over these past couple of years of them not being intimate in the sense of a husband and wife. They seem to mesh as business partners. They seem to mesh as parents for their daughter, but they definitely need to get back on track as a husband and wife. And I think they've done a good job because you can definitely see him supporting her throughout everything that she's doing. He was at BravoCon. He was at Watch What Happens Live. He's always by her side. So I also don't really have anything to say about those baseless rumors that are going around about him, sleeping around with men especially. I don't think that's true. Even though they might have been distant after, many years in their marriage, you can still see the hurt and love when discussing this matter in the eyes of the both of them. Angie got so emotional, started crying, and Sean was like, how do you want to address this? How do you want to reprioritize our marriage? And I thought that was a very good question for him to ask you, because in my eyes, it gives her space to be open and communicate freely in terms of what she wants to do for the both of them to reconnect. So now we jump back to Miss Heather. She is preparing a little lunch for Take a Shot every time the girls from SLC have a little get together and eat, because you will get drunk in a matter of 25 minutes. But anyways, Heather has stacked up on a Wendy's burger, Wendy's chicken nuggets, Lisa's favorite bakery goods, She is, having a little spread of that. She's really trying to keep that Lisa Barlow friendship bracelet as close as she can. But what killed me in that scene is Lisa pulled up to Heather's house in her Porsche and she completely pulled out the plastic part, I think it's called, of the boulder in the car. She was like, "What did I hit?" Whispering in her earpiece. She was mortified. Heather was like, "I don't even know if I have home insurance yet and my account has kicked in. I'm probably gonna have to start a GoFundMe to repair Lisa Barlow's car." That Heather has some hilarious confessionals this season. So the both of them are enjoying some Wendy's, just, lunching into the day. And Heather is talking to Lisa about the other night when she actually went out with Monica. And they are, trying to go on a trip to Bermuda. And Heather kind of says that she wants to plan something after all of them getting together at their book signing. She feels like this is good new energy and it needs to be celebrated. So they are going to go on a passport required trip. I died at passport required. It sent me through the roof because that dig at Jen Shah, baby, was clear as day. So Heather pretty much says to Lisa, "Girl, I don't want you to think this is some kind of shady move, but obviously Monica's gonna be invited. You're gonna be invited. What in the hell are we going to do? I told Monica she needs to apologize to you, so can you cooperate? What are your thoughts?" Lisa's pretty much like, "I don't really care. I want to go on a trip. If I have to talk to her, if she's there, I don't really mind." Lisa is trying to seem as if she wants to pay Monica dust. But she stupidly, and that's where I have to get on you quickly, Lisa. You get triggered by Monica in a way that is just so unnecessary that you could just really swipe away with your left finger. But yeah, Lisa pretty much said, "I don't really care if she's coming or not. I am going on this international trip." So now we actually jump to Whitney and Angie. They are out having some lunch. Shocker. They are discussing both of their marriages. Angie opens up about the struggles that they've had. Whitney does as well. And they both kind of lay out on the table that it is not really natural to be monogamous and to be married to one another because, humans at the end of the day, we are part of the subgroup of animals, and it is not in our nature to be bound to other people for the rest of our life, which probably in our DNA is true. And Whitney's like, "It is really hard, to stay true to that." And I was like, "Whitney, what are you trying to say?" Okay. I don't have much to say about that scene. It was a cute getting together scene, talking about the struggles, being really open and honest instead of, pretending that everything is fine in their marriage. I am side-eyeing some of the ladies of the Real Housewives of Miami at this point. But anyways, we then jump to, again, Whitney and this time Meredith meeting up because Meredith and Seth have invited the both of them to be guests on their podcast, Hanging by a Thread. They are taping, the podcast, and they thought of Whitney and Justin to come over to be the first couple that they would have on the pod. and they were asking some, risque, fun questions. I thought this scene was good as well. I wasn't really bored because usually when not meth, when Seth and Meredith are on a scene together, it doesn't excite me that much. But I really like the questions that they were asking. Seth is like, what is the most heated place you've had, the deed? Whitney's like, under the office, and HR walked in and caught me. I was like, girl, you are a whole mess. And then, what was the hardest thing your partner had to go through? And we come to find out that Whitney, when Justin's dad was dying, actually was the one who held his hand, was there for him, because Justin physically couldn't, probably because he was hurting so much emotionally. And everybody at the table got teary-eyed, especially Meredith. She said to Whitney that was really beautiful. Seth was like, you're really, really lucky to have someone like that in your life, Justin. And then Whitney also, to credit him, says, even though I've been there for him in this sense, he's been there for me every single day. Because I think we tend to forget the messy family relations that Whitney has. The half-siblings, the sobriety of her dad, with her mom, all of that. I wish that at times, maybe tone down the instigating and the bone picking and the bone collecting by 50%, Whitney, and I would love for her to show us more of that side. I think people will be very engaged. So they finish filming the podcast, and then we jump to Miss Heather meeting up with her event coordinator prior to the women showing up to this little pioneer event. So Heather got a cabin, a very spacious one, in the middle of, the snowy mountains. It's very much giving Utah. It's very much giving Mormon. There's some goats, there's some sheep. It is very on brand, on scene. And she has actually some bonnets and some, aprons in Mormon style. I never knew what to make of them. I never knew that was, what Mormon people were back in the day. Or maybe even still now. But it was a really fun idea. The table looked beautiful. The whole setup was really, really made good. Heather spent at least, I'd say, a couple $1,000, including the food. She spent at least $5,000 to $6,000 for that day only. So anyways, all the women arrive. They're like, Heather, are you really making us put on these, are you really making us, put on these, aprons and bonnets? And GK's like, girl, I have a sleek bun. Really, are you really doing this to me? Whitney's like, what in the F is going on here? Monica's laughing. I think they all appreciated the good fun in, Heather's intention of celebrating their Mormon roots all together. So this lunch could have been so super good, in my opinion, if just both Lisa and Monica just shut the hell up for 1 second, or actually thought for a couple of seconds before they spoke to one another. It is definitely clear that in this argument, there is no faulting side, in my opinion. Both of them are at fault, but in my humble opinion, not equally. This is where I have to get on Lisa for starting it, on Lisa for digging again with the fact that, Monica's not nice because she treats her mother horribly. You can't just speak on people's relationship with their parents, because as much as maybe even the whole world, or I'd say 70% of the world thinks it's normal to have a good relationship with their parents, it is actually a very a very sensitive topic, and something that you cannot just blatantly say like that. It is very insensitive, Lisa. It is really, really putting a bad light on you and making you look actually really not intelligent to not acknowledge the people that have had, struggles with their parents, because I can tell you there are so many. So many don't speak to their mother. So many don't speak to their father, especially. So many do not have the emotional, mental, physical capacity to form a relationship with their parents, because it is just not something that is sustainable for one's mental health. But before we jump into that, the girls all do some Mormon activities. They are actually churning up butter, and I was dying when after the activity, Meredith actually kept on churning that butter for the whole event, for the whole lunch. In her confessional, she was like, I was taught by my parents, and I am teaching my children that when they start something, finish it. I was dead. She probably churned up all of the women's butters just with her own force throughout the day. But to get quickly back on this whole thing with Lisa and Monica, it just started because Heather, you definitely gave a little bit of Whitney here. You decided to play a game. The wagon is too full or too heavy. Who do you push off your wagon? And you disguised it as a thing that back in the day when the Mormons were running through the snowy mountains and the wagon got too heavy, they pushed something off of it or someone off of it. Girl, you knew exactly what you were doing. Stop. But please keep going. As Whitney as well. We get on Whitney so much, but we have to credit her that drama gets created because of her, and that is why we actually get to see content for some parts this season. So back to Lisa and Monica. Lisa says, I wouldn't push anyone off of my wagon because I support women, but I would have to go with the nastiest one. The one that really can't speak to their mother, yada, yada, yada. This obviously triggers Monica, and I thought that was very low of Lisa. But, here comes my but. Monica decided to, she threw a little shade. She started mocking Lisa's voice. They were going back and forth. But if I would have been Monica, if I would have been in her place, I would have read her down just for a quick 15 seconds, set the record straight that she is foul for making remarks like that she is unintelligent to not acknowledge the fact that people don't all have good relationships with their moms, and I would have let that go, and I would have just seen Lisa then, if she chose to further on pick on me. She could have picked on me. I wouldn't have reacted. I would have made her look a little stupid, to be honest. And that's where I have to get on Monica. Monica, you get triggered so easily as well. You and Lisa are made of the same wood, the same stone, or whatever the saying is called. Girl, you cannot go from 0 to 100 like that. When someone's coming for you, you have to kind of psychologically put them against them alone. Make the people that come for you feel like they're fighting something alone, like they're fighting a wall. You could take back your power, but Monica digs herself a hole every time she goes for the jugular. Don't get me wrong. I felt bad a little for her when she started crying and obviously being triggered and holding back tears and being upset. And Heather was like, Monica, where is the fun energy? Monica, you're like a totally different person. I don't think you say that. I think that's a little insensitive, but I definitely can understand where they were coming from. This whole thing just could have been avoided. Period. End of story. Heather and Monica actually go up and talk for a second. She's like, I'm not coming to Bermuda. Girl, you know good and damn well that you are going on that trip to Bermuda, especially because expenses are paid, okay? It is for free. Do not tell me that you would have renounced a trip to Bermuda. I wouldn't have. Let's keep it real. Let's not just say stuff for, shock value, even though we see in the promo, obviously you were there. And now where I have to give Lisa Barlow not only one flower, but 100 flowers. Lisa Barlow got off of the table. She got up. I can barely speak. That's how pleasantly surprised I was. She went up to Monica and Heather. She softly held on Monica's arm and she was like, Monica, if you need me to acknowledge that the relationship between you and your mother is not that like it seems, and that she treats you not so nicely, I will do that. I will. If you need for me to do that, if I miss that. I said, Lisa Barlow, this is why you are always going to be famous. You were acting a fool 10 minutes ago and then thought to yourself, what was I doing? Let me tone the situation down. The way you took the high road, and we do not see her do that often, I was amazed. I was shook. It was the perfect start. It was the perfect initiative for Monica to take and be like, Lisa, you know what? I was a damn bitch back to you because I was triggered, because you were insensitive, because I couldn't stand the things that you said about me and my mom. But you know what? I see you right now and I appreciate what you're saying right now. Let's put this behind us. No, but Miss Monica decides to say, I don't know, but thank you. I apologize for calling you ugly, which that's good. At least she's owning up to something. She goes back to the table and she's being very dramatic. I guess she was still emotional and she didn't want to let the girls know that she's still so triggered and holding on to that emotion regarding the topic of her mom. I totally get it, but Heather's like, I need Monica right now to announce where we're going, yada yada yada, and Monica's like, to Bermuda, to the devil's whatever, where we all belong, in hell. Everybody was looking at her like, girl, are you okay? And to know what for the rest of the season is to come is a shame, because the power dynamic that Monica and Lisa especially could have been, even Monica and Heather, is, to me, that is so sad. I hope she's not a one and done, because she brings life to to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm so excited for the reunion. The reunion was killer, apparently. That's at least what Andy said. But yeah, the preview for next week's episode looks intense and good as well. I'm definitely excited how this season is going to turn out. And that was pretty much it for this week's recap for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I have nothing more to say. I've said my piece. But I definitely want to know what you thought about this reunion, about this it is tired. Please don't judge me. I have misspoken in this video for about 11 million times. Please cut me some slack. But anyways, let's get down in the comments and discuss our feelings about this episode. Who do you think was wrong for this? Was Monica wrong for this, for being a little too sensitive and going for, the jugular and reading Lisa down a little too much and going on her looks? Was Lisa wrong for really completely not acknowledging the things that Monica's going through with her mom? So on and so forth. Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell down below so you do not miss out on any future things from my part. And I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.